Alrighty then. So this is taking a look at gold here. So interesting stuff going on with gold and Bitcoin. I can't ever say these things track together, but I always do wonder for the people that are into the dollar index way of trying to cue reality to the dollar index, which is it would be your baseline. If you were going to look out into the market landscape, I get it. That's your. But the problem is, for me, is that if I can't trade it, I kind of don't want to look at it in a way. So I don't know what that says about me, but I guess everybody has this there's a subtle, from the very beginning of the first time you ever saw a chart in your life. And I was just listening to Alexander Elder's reading of Trading for a Living, which I read, and I'm not really good at reading because it's just I guess I grew up on TV, so I kind of want to download stuff really fast. But I have read books, and it does slow you down, I guess, is the nice thing. And of course, you're reading these books, and I always feel like when I'm reading a book that I've paid for the book, so therefore I owe this duty in respect to the book that I should follow what's in it. And if I think that this person is on my wavelength, or that they know what the fuck they're talking about. So it could be two different things there. Now, it's so complicated. If you were to pick up any classic trading book and find a setup that works for you, you could do that. Okay, so you could just say, well, this setup, but there's just infrequent setups. What will happen is eventually you realize that, wait a minute, there's more than one setup. So there's more than one style of trading. It's swing or it's scalp. So even these guys at SMB in Manhattan, they realize some of their trading guys are scalpers. So he's talking about, if you go through their videos, and I'm just razzing him because I think that everybody has this notion that, gosh, in other words, are you trying to make money or do you love trading? So do you love playing guitar? Do you love playing scales? Do you love practicing? Do you love messing around with demo accounts and real money and strategy tester? And does it make you feel anxious to trade, or do you enjoy it? Like, is it the so I'm listening to this song, and I got a kick out of the lyrics because I thought, wow, this is a song about the market, and I can't remember it now, but I'll put it in the next video. But it's really interesting. So I wanted to go through some of the comments and questions here just to update, because somebody Skyped me about the spectrum indicator, and it's like this. It's set to 30 minutes in the video because I like a lot of drama. I like to see stuff. That's why I'm using the 1 period moving average. I want to see the raw data, and then I'm thinking, well, you know what? I want to see this every 15 minutes. Like if I'm going to babysit this fucking market, and it's going to throw out orders every 15 minutes that are like 10 pips deep. Okay, that's a different world. If you just said to somebody, what if you went fishing or netting? You're kind of netting fish here, so how many nets are you planning on losing, and how much mileage are you losing by dragging a net? I'm sure it's dragging on the boat knots, and so it's an expense. All this stuff you can't get away from just because you're trading. They make it sound like, oh, it's a magical thing. We can just trade from anywhere in the world. Yeah, presupposing that you've got either working orders on a swing thing or you're scalping your ass off. So if you're not in a trade that you're willing to go underwater for $500, so you have to find this threshold, right? Are you willing to risk $500 per trade? What is your fucking tap out? Like, you have to decide that up front. Now, say 10% of your account is all you want to risk. $50 on, what is that, 5 grand? I don't know. So I don't think like that. I think of just risking dollars. I don't even know what I'm risking. So people say, what's your risk to reward ratio? I go, I don't know. I think when I stopped out or I have to add money to the account, I think that's when I know that it's a problem. But if you're trying to make money trading, okay, so do you come to these markets after reading every fucking book with 100 grand? Or do you start off with $100 and go, let's see, I can buy $1,000 of currency for $100 with a 1,000 pip stop. What could I do? Now, if you presented this, I guess coming back to the leverage issues, this is how dumb people have become. The dumbing down of people not understanding fucking leasing as opposed to buying or something. I mean, really? Like, you have to teach that? I guess they don't teach it in school. But I like the $5 drops. I got the Bitcoins written here, so I'm going to post this at the Hightail. It'll be Bitcoin drops. And once again, I didn't write too many cells, but I had to add 2 fucking zeros to these scripts. So it's pretty hairy. Let's see here. So what I had to do here was edit each one of these. And once you get past the first 3, I figure it's like we're having to write I will not talk in class 200 times. The first 22, you're in. You're good. You're going down. Okay, so here we are. So based on a realistic fluctuation of Bitcoin, which I have no idea what that is, if you consider the dynamic range, Bitcoin could really just fizzle into a range like gold did for 3 years. So after that first price pulse, I did make that call that we were done. We were gonna range trade and torture every bull and bear for maybe 3 to 5 years after the run up and the psychotic move there. And I think Bitcoin's ready to melt down. Take gold with it. Does that mean the dollar's going up? Dollar index is going up? So if the dollar index is going up, it's going to trump, if it's really, it's going to take out all the other pairs against the dollar. And crude goes down, and crude's just nothing more than just ranging. And the thing is, these things range and range and range. And at some point, there's either pressure or vacuum building up on either side of it, above and below. And it's going to explode. You can explain it. You should be able to explain without a chart the Elliott wave principle of your 0 wave is complete end. 1 is the first glimpse of the bulls, and then 2 is the failure to pull back. Same thing on the top, failure to swing higher. On the clock, though, no candles needed. Then, only for stops. Like, so if you're going to run your stops, now here's what gets complicated. Are you going to run bracketed orders between 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14? So you'd actually have to stack up all these tickets. And the only way to do that is to build the account and just keep building the script. Just keep adding one case to the script. So if it's going up, you want to go up, right? You want to go up with it, right? So, and you want to be in it before everybody's onto it. Well, that just means before it moves. So you're looking for the most drifty wave 4, even if it's a 30-second chart. Now, if you're really going to scalp this thing and you're going to trade really big, then you'd probably be that during the 30-second chart going, yeah, the 1 minute guys are fucking late. Yeah, of course. Anybody trade a 1 minute chart? Yeah, and this guy's sent me this fucking stalker email bragging you can trade a 5 minute chart. Dude, we could all trade that shit, but it's like, is your spread that tight that you could fucking, I mean, your spread's got to go to 0. The commissions have to be maybe half a pip. I mean, how hard are you working for that? You could sit back like a fucking idiot in 58K and get out in 4 days with the same amount of money that it took some meth head fucking 98 seconds to make in Hilton style. You ever seen Hilton Trades Life? Maybe we'll put a link on the thing here. Motherfuckers trading real money out of packs, out of grenadines there. And he's an ex-con. So it just goes to show you that's how you have to be a guy that robs banks. He's a bank robber who scalps. And people say he's trading other people's money too. He also has a psychological edge because he's saying, "Oh, I'll just no stops." Huge. I don't know what he doesn't say what session he's trading, but I think it's a quiet session. It's not the news because he has no stops and he's trading full out, and he's making quite a bit of money. Make $8,000 in about 9 minutes and shit. So now, if you are trying to make more money than your day job, like so, you say you go to work and you have a trade on that you've been in for 2 days. I mean, you really don't. It's like being on vacation from the market. Scalping the market. If you're gonna get up and try to trade the London Open with scripts, you can do it. You just have to be there, hit the buttons, or have your trade plan like the playbook. This guy at SMB, your playbook. You have like about 20 playbooks. I mean, I don't see how you could live off of just one setup. Just from what I've seen people trade, I still don't understand the Forex Hangout guy with a 5-minute chart. I feel like saying, dude, zoom in. You're on a 5-minute chart. You're really on a 5-minute chart. Like, you zoom out on that thing and you're looking at the ridiculous long-term structures on some wackadoodle. Okay, it's doable. But how do you stand the punishment of watching your equity fluctuate when it would have been more economical to have a first gear or second gear? I mean, to drop your car into 5th gear after revving the engine, I don't get it. Wouldn't you treat it like any other thing you do? So you're like, oh yeah, this is, the market's going to go sideways 80% of the time. So you're never chasing it if you're getting in on higher, if you're selling into strength, it's called. But it's real-time strength. So you either have pendings 10 pips above you because you know that there's a Fibonacci somewhere in Wonderland 10 pips above you. There's another one 15 above, 20. How much money you got? You could put a master stop on a whole bank of orders and go, okay, let her rip. And when you see those fill and come back, well, you feel kind of like you betrayed the book that you bought and all the stuff you studied, because it turns out that all you really did was decide to sell higher than the guy right now, which is the whole market depth, whatever it's called. Well, that's true market depth, but some guy made a comment that he was afraid to put those orders in. Yeah, so there was this guy that we talked to on Skype years ago, about 3 years ago, and this other guy told me, he was his coach, his trading coach, and everybody's trying to help this guy make money trading. So I said, well, let me have a go at it. So I asked the guy, do you have a problem putting an order 50 pips deep, a 1K with a 50 pip stop tonight? He goes, no. Now, if you ask somebody that read like more than one book, they'd be like, I don't know. I'm supposed to enter on stops, I was told in the book. Or, this would be your, even, what's his name? Albert Brooks does that. He says, it's too advanced to put a limit order in. Why, you think your stop order's better? Your Goober confirmation, go with the flow? Well, that's true order flow entry, isn't it? No. Buy stop. Or you could say counter order flow would be putting a limit above you to sell. How long does the order last? And if you're trying to grow these things, now these markets are cycling once a week. So I just was listening to the books on tape of Alexander Elder, and he says, hey, it's a classic thing, There's also the swap is on Wednesday. So there's a move into Wednesday and a move out of Wednesday. You could see the most dramatic reversal, or it moves into Wednesday, it pauses, and it continues, and you end up with a huge candle on the weekly. So you're building the candle, and if you go into Strategy Tester and you run a 5-minute chart and just watch the candles grow, and you'll realize if you can think of a trade plan for every fucking candle, then you've done it, right? In other words, if you were forced to trade candle by candle without any look back, no structure leaves clues bullshit. Now this is like playing guitar without knowing what key you're in, but playing on beat. So if you're on beat and you're out of key, people think you're a genius, right? So I was doing that Saturday night. I said, I'm going to do that because I have no idea what they're playing, and they're playing too loud for me to find the keys. So I just played right on the beat, and I thought it sounded like I became invisible all of a sudden because I was just going with the switch. You could play a game. You're only allowed to be in the market for 5 minutes. It's really about that. So if you're going to put an order that's 3 hours long, 30 pips deep, so you're asking the market to drop 10 pips per minute. So if you set up your scripts at 40 pips deep, you have 4 hours. You can get a 6-hour script at 60 pips deep. So there's a grid you can lay in, right? And you could just pick the dollar amount for that script. But there is no one script. This is the heartbreaker. Okay, there's no one script. If you're running this script that runs on the Guppy, it may never fill on the Euro. So it may never fill because now it's not to say you couldn't run a blanket across, and this is why I run demos, because my real money broker would not let me trade with all those scripts to tell me you're spamming the account. So I have to just focus on scalping and swing trading the tightest spreads I can get. And I guess the Bitcoin looks like it's tight, so I'll be putting some Bitcoins in this thing and see what it's a huge rewrite of the scripts, but it looks to me like it could be easier to, and maybe I can run that on, if I run them on the other currencies, then I don't know. Now the hand drop ones are completely different. What I've been speaking about here is an array that you double click or you drop, and it's hard coded to get in 40 pips deep in 4 hours. So that's completely different than you hand placing one. Now if you hand place them, this is where you're going to put them in just above where the line of scrimmage is. Is this going to be a real breakout or a fake out? And if you place enough scalps at the borderline so you can pay for if you're wrong, you've always got to have some scalps embedded around where your swings are so that you can cash in on the obvious bullshit that's going to happen. So if the market goes auction, it'll fall into a new hole, comes back up into the floor. It's supposed to sell off now, and on a hard trend it will. Literally, it's like textbook, right? So if anybody watch Forex, how it behaves, it goes up an hour hard, 15 minutes, one doji. So in a 15-minute chart, maybe it's half hour up hard, a 15-minute doji, and then just keeps slamming. And now the price pulse is going to be equal. That doji is almost dead center of the most dramatic candles, and then it's over. And then this just listening to the Alexander Elder saying, if a market moves hard like that, that's why I'm saying it's safe to sell into hard moves at the market after 15 minutes is up. That's another trade plan. So what you do is you have a three-way system. You've got the drummer, which is the market orders. That's right on the beat. And then you've got your stops, which are your breakout confirmations. And you get your limits, which are your... They each have their own role. Because I'm not going to put a sell stop. Well, I mean, I'm not going to put a sell stop 40 pips deep. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to put a sell stop 40 pips deep. No. I want to be in before we go 40 pips deep. So wherever we're at right now, every time I look at the chart, wherever we are right now, I'm always going to get in 40 pips above for 4 hours and 40 pips below for 4 hours. Now, if you just keep that in your mind, now you think you could stare at the order and you're like, holy shit, can I? And now you could just put a 1K in there with a 20 pip stop, so you're risking $2. But the more you build that, array, because it's going to be a labor intensive, but you'll make more money and risk less money. So it'll also slow you down. So if you're inclined to trade a standard lot or something, like a 2% of your account theory of life, at least split it in half. But like I said, when you come to this game, people come with their own little quirks. And I can only imagine that if you showed this game to somebody, that they could make money and you're like, I don't even know how they're fucking doing it, man. They're just breaking all the rules. Like, look at this motherfucker. So now the guy that's a really good student is just never going to find his own he will never find comfort in risk. So he's always looking to reduce risk by reading another book. So somebody asked me, so this Stormin Norman guy, the SEAL Team 6 guy who I just let him play his playlist and stuff. And I like his attitude, but he's got his head up his ass when he says systems don't work. They absolutely work, and I think he's pure fundamentalist. So he's saying, oh, trend lines and whatever. But obviously, a triangle means something. It means wave 4. It means the longest consolidation before the last move. But you could still keep going. So there's a lot of Forex doesn't really, stocks are more Elliott wave because they're really it's a bull market in stocks forever, in a way. Whereas Bitcoin, geez, it's going to be so fun. Much for the next 1 year is going to be. I hope I live it for just one more year. You see, how's a Bitcoin? My wallet's. I'm going to hedge my wallet. You have to hedge your wallet. So, here I've got the, and I've got whatever this is in Bitcoins, and I don't know if the size is too big. But that's the only way to come up with that. So I don't know what the risk is going to be on that. Bitcoin goes to 4,000. So anyways, some people. So what it's like is, I think it's good to take, they say to make it realistic, take $1,000 demo and just try to deal with it. Of course, once you see the leverage can make you so much money, you'll think that you could never lose. So you probably, if you're super lazy like me when I started, only because I didn't have the scripts and I really didn't have the, I was trading on my phone and I would just throw a pending in. I couldn't get only on a 4-decimal broker could I scroll to put a stop in on the phone. So that was the only beauty of 4-decimal brokers back then, is that you could put a pending in there and actually see the stop scroll by you and go down and, okay, at least I put a stop in. But that was a lot of work, and I usually trade without stops. The account was a stop, so I could just take and samurai the account. And I go from $200 to $800. At that point, either you're going to blow it up, or you're going to keep the 800, or you're going to take money out. So that would also be the problem with trading, is that, say you start off with $1,000, by the end of the month you're 20 grand, and you're like, holy shit. And so if it makes you feel uncomfortable, or if you think you can make more, and it just so happens that you think there's a trend and it's going to keep going, so you would load up and you do the same thing you did before, as trade without stops, right? Because if that worked then, it'll work now. I mean, so at that point there, I just don't know how people are coming to it. So a lot of people come to Forex and trading now saying, I guess when stocks $9 round, Scott trade was $9 round turn. I don't know what it is now, but I guess maybe because you're not paying a spread or something, they're just killing you on the commissions, I suppose. They're going to get you one way or another. So when you come to Forex and you have very low commissions or no commission and spread only, if you know how to place the order, then you're going to make more money, because you know you want it to get in on a limit 3 pips deep instead of right now, and all that adds up. Every 3 pips, just like it all adds up because you have to make up the spread. So whether it's 1 pip or half a pip, you'd have to make that up. So as you step away from a half a pip and you go to, I'm going to make 3 pips, you're almost making money. So if you can make 2 pips with a half pip, oh boy, you better be fucking right. And maybe you're running a 3 pip stop to make 2 pips. Now you could trade like that. You'd have to really have limits in though. You couldn't play. I don't think you can play one if you're going to trade 1Ks. Now I'm presupposing this is all based on the fact that you have at your hands the ability to go from a 1K to a 21K. Or you have 1K to a 20K. You got 20 trade plans to buy, 20 trade plans. 10 to sell, 10 to buy. So you could set up your keyboard. And they could all be market orders. Because MetaTrader allows you 72 hotkeys, but Alt, I was using Alt 1 through Alt 0, which is 10, and Control. Controls buy, Alt, sell. That's how I have it configured. And so typically the first 3 tickets for me are market orders, and one has an insane stop. So it's kind of like, oh fuck these assholes, really? Like, just, I know I'm gonna be 20 pips underwater, but I got to get the fuck. I got to go somewhere. So the flexibility in trading incrementally. Also, this is how you paint a car, or this is how you wax a car. They say do a small area. Yeah, no shit. Well, some materials you can't just blanket something, dude. It's like, oh yeah, great. This shit's all you, or you're out in the sun or something. So it does matter. If you layer it in, it's just like honeycomb shit. I mean, the bees, they're like, no, 6 sides. They didn't go square on that, or 8 sides. So the octagon, anytime you can distribute the pressure of, well, the mental pressure and the actual exposure to incremental risk. So I would never say straight out risk in this system here. But I said, some brokers only let you trade so many tickets, so they would lock you out before they would send you an email. So it depends which broker you pick. And how many devices you have running and all that. You have a tablet, you have a Linux system, do you have backup, do you have... so the power goes out. So I lost my power again. Just out of nowhere. There was no storm. And I thought, oh, here we go. I got a little scared because I could hear people in the neighborhood. I thought a zombie apocalypse is coming. Okay, so yeah. So going back to this trading thing, and of course, also, what does it mean to, in other words, are you planning on trading for the next 5 years? And of course, the whole paradox is that if you're trying to make money trading, you might force a trade. You might say, well, you know what? Of course, now, it's not an all or nothing thing. You could semi-force it. So you could say, well, I'm going to force it by buying at the market with a 50 pip stop because I'm just like, fuck that. And I'll just put a buy limit 10 pips deep for an hour. And then, so you have to pick for the account that you're going to make money in or build, same thing. So the guy that's talented can take a small amount of money and build an account. The guy that says, well, I'm going to hang in there for a year. I've allocated $2 grand to Liz. Got 10 grand in the account. And my wife will let me blow up $2 grand a year. But if you blow up $2 grand in the first day, you're like, well, shit, that's not good, right? You're supposed to just blow it up a little bit each day. So in a perfect losing scenario, of a low dollar cost, like how much are you spending on coffee for, for a cup of coffee, as they say. You know, if you're spending $3 on coffee in the morning, what is that? Could you put on a 1K with a 30 pip stop? That's how I think about coffee in the morning. I was, yeah, I got to put on a trade or skip coffee and put on a 30 pip stop. So, you know, that kind of stuff occurs to you. And then when you go down to the nano account, which is even more work, then it really pays off because now you have, you're inside of that other risk curve, and now you've got even a higher res. It's as if you went to the sixth decimal point with the 1Ks. I mean, well, just the softness of the stop at that point. That you can create a soft hard stop. And you could tailor that, and of course you could do it with the market orders. You could do it so you could get in, depending how fast your broker's going to execute. You could split your tickets. You can have so they let you trade $100. Now you can trade 300, 300, 400. As soon as you go to 500, even you've doubled you've reduced your risk and cut your risk in half as soon as you go to a 500 ticket from a 1K to a 500. So if you just set the platform up like that. Another thing is if you're going to trade over it like on gold or silver, you can trade silver this way too because you're going to have to back that thing down if you want to get a soft risk, you know. But I know the hard risk thing, and I know that these real men want to trade with, they want to see somebody trade real money, and then, so if I was to lose any amount of money, people would say, see? And it's like, and I wouldn't expose my accounts. And also when I'm making money, trading the news, or riding a pending out, I just don't, you know, it's bad enough that people don't get, well, I guess they're just, you know, like I said, they have loyalty to their information, you know, the book writers, which is like the formal, proper trading presentation, the firm handshake and the certain look in the eye situation. Then there is the people that just trade and they just can out-trade a guy in a suit in a prop house because they get what's going on in the market. They understand price action. And I always think, well, you know, so it's almost like price inaction and price action. It's not just price action, it's price, and it's from zero price action to a lot of price action. So people say, well, you trade price action. Or do you trade price action? Well, I mean, when it's not moving, is anybody making money? Like if we're all in Asia going, holy shit, did they just stop trading? And I don't know if anybody's been in a trade like that because I hold trades through the swing and I'm just looking at that going, oh man, this is going to be a big winner if they would just fucking move, or I'm going to get crushed, you know. So also building a position, say you scalp some and then you see, oh, I get it, I'm just going to go flat, cash out, scalp out, dump. Now, if you're going to do it in the morning and you scalp, make money, get the fuck out. Now come in with pendings. This is if you're trying to build it without working your ass off. You throw in pendings now because you can risk those and you'll actually be up in the account. So people say they move their stop to break even. Think of it like this. The market crushes up where you thought it would go. It pauses. You're like, and if you could watch the tick chart, you'll get a sense for like, you're like, yeah, I think we could get slammed back the other way, especially when the news comes out. Go flat and then throw your pendings in. And that's actually more exciting because now you've cashed out and you could pepper some pendings around. So you're trading around the action, and of course, as opposed to trailing your stops. So what you've done is you've gone flat and you're out. If you trail your stops, Now you got to go grab each stop. Now you have time to do it, even though that you, of course, you're going to break with the algorithm that you wrote if you're going to be a strict. Okay, there's nothing. If you're going to be a strict script trader, you're going to do everything that script says. That may not be a good idea. So now this is when the human can outdo, or the human can say, yeah, you know, it's just stalled here too long. Let's go flat. Come in with limits. I can always buy back 1Ks every 4 seconds. How many 1Ks can I buy every 4 seconds in the next 20 minutes? So that's what also riles me when I'm watching this Forex Hangout guy trade. I'm like, really, dude? Like, come on, man. Just dance with the market. Just just buy a little bit. I don't know what it is. If they give you a gun that's capable of doing 22s, why would you shoot an ant with an elephant gun? I mean, the market's an ant. The elephant is like 8 hours, an 8-hour trade. So where are these? So especially if you're going to trade that big, fuck, you're going to shoot ants. I mean, the elephant needs a wider stop. 300 pip elephant, 5 pip ants. You know, I mean, you just I don't know. But like I said, it's a matter of taste, and I guess if you trade long enough, you'll come to the conclusion that there's only 3 ways to get in. 2 of them you don't have to be there for. And that sounds really awkward to say. What do you mean I don't have to be there? Well, you could place an order and leave. And there's a risk it could get filled. Now you've already reduced your risk, because not only now you're not looking for the high probability trade outcome. You're looking for the other side of the equation, which is the probability of fill. So now you've softened up the whole index, because and of course the risk of ruin is what if all orders fill. So you should know your risk of your ruin. Like if you feel like you got beat up because you lost $210, okay, maybe you want to set your thing to $150 a day risk. And every penny you have in there, whether it's a stop, and maybe you do want to put a sell stop. Some guy wanted me to write a script like this. Swear to God, he goes, can you put, okay, if you insist, sell stop way below. Okay. Psychologically, I don't get it, because to me, it's like anytime it goes lower than it is, I want to buy it. It's lower than it was a minute ago. I'm presupposing you're sitting in front of your screen, or you just walked up to your screen. Like, so gun to your head trading, I called it, and I did this on Skype with people, and some people just, it was a game. I'd say, if you had to trade with a gun, if I put a gun to your head and I said, buy or sell right now, and people are saying, well, I don't know, I got to get out my fib tool. I said, no, right now. And they don't want to be, some people don't want to be wrong. I say most people would not give you, 90% of the people will not say. I think somebody that doesn't know shit about it might actually have less hesitation. But people that have read a lot of books have a lot of designs on the market in their heads. So let's go to the chart. So here's the gold market, the monthly. And we've been going down for, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And we're due for a bounce here, and this is, I think, the scalpers have made their money. So this is a classic view of candlesticks. We've all seen this in books, and I think there are trade plans for dojis. I do believe system trading does work, the doji system. And granted, you need more than one ticket. Once again, you need to get into 50 sells and 50 buys. So imagine you do this. You set it up like this. Okay, you've got. Go for yellow for my entry. We see a doji. Two dojis actually. And this is the fare of the one. The roadless dojied. This is the one that was grassy, wanted wear. So also we would, if we're going to ignore the wick, but typically you'll notice that every time there's a doji, it's typically a smaller bar. Right, so this is wave 4 or wave 2. So this is how, and the monthly chart is so smooth and clean that it's just, it's gorgeous. And I'm at max zoom in, and I'm running Windows 150% bigger. So I am at 1920 by 1080, but I'm running Windows at 150%. If we follow the same system here with a sell stop and a buy stop, every time we see a doji, so at the completion of this is pure gooberlicious trading here. I'm going to say this is as goober as it gets, and you can make a mint trading like a goober. That's why the goobers are all mad, and that's another reason why the ICT guy annoyed the fuck out of me, because I thought, dude, this is just I mean, you're just acting like there's some mystery about this. Let's not leave out the limit guys that have the balls, and of course it takes balls to put sell limits up here, because if you've ever seen the market come up here during this phase and you're like, holy shit, I put a stop up here at 1380 in case I'm wrong, how many tickets could you possibly stack up here? Now you're going to have the scalp to here, another scalp to here, and I guess you could have the big kahuna winner. Now this is all presupposing that you stacked all that shit up there because you saw a 3-month high, and you're like, I wonder what happens if they come up there. I wonder if that'll be a fake breakout. Huh. Now, can trading be this easy? Yes, and this is the problem. It is too easy. And people say, oh, what you're doing is you're trading the past. No. You should be long gold right now. Why? Because right here. Right. That's anything below here is unfair. You should have enough money to buy gold all the way down to here. If you're really a gold bug, and you'd martingale in, so down here you're buying like a whore. Here you bet the ranch. Right? And so your orders, I'm just using this for size and expiration. You can't put a 5-month order in. I don't think you're going to put it monthly. So every month you'd have to keep putting your pendings in. And don't forget, people are long from here. So I suspect when we get to here, there could be some selling coming in. So where are we at now? Let's see. So here we also have this situation. Nice sell. Didn't quite get filled on these. But even now the guy with, so each candle. Now what? Buy stops, sell stops. We should cash out here. So I think we've already cashed out. If we bought this new low and this new low, so right, you're buying new lows. So somebody said, which new lows? Well, the bigger the vac, the better. So here's your vacuum, which is based on this trend line, is kind of revealing, but it doesn't reveal. So if you are one of these, Gartley people, these cipher people, I'm thinking it looks a little bit more like this. Now, this is more like a dragon's back cipher, but if you just close off these two vacs, and here we have a backfill. where you'd buy new lows if you're bullish, and when it closes here, you just hold on for dear life and hope they break that out. And they actually bring it back to the breakout on the Doji monthly. And this is the pivot going forward. All these pivots can be carried forward. This pivot here, this right prices, whatever about this price, and if we ever get back to, well, I mean, you know, for the people that are confirmationists, they're going to buy here. They're not even long yet. So that kind of, this is where I get all pissed off with people. I'm like, you mean to tell me that you're still waiting to buy this? You didn't fucking buy here and here and here. You didn't have pendings like all the way to Memphis? Like you should have had here? Buy. I'm sure you shit your pants when it closed. You're underwater, but this is when that SEAL Team 6 guy, this is when he comes and says, oh, look, I made all this money. This Michael Norman guy. Norman Michaels. I can't remember his name because he's got a first name for a last name. It's fucking pissed me off. The confirmation guy says, I just put a buy stop there and I got a better price than you. So I get this all the time when I'm streaming, and I'm just not going to go. I refuse to talk to people that cannot see that there's more than one way to skin a cat. If you have buy limits stacked up here, and I'm absorbing price, and this whole absorption thing, you should have your tickets in there. Another thing that pissed me off about that guy, the SMB guy in Manhattan, well, it's an extra confirmation. Oh, fuck, get the fuck out of here. That fuck confirmation shit. You pussy. Fuck. You could have had some of them on this fucking wick and just got in here and be like, I gotta stop here. See you, bye. I'm waiting fucking all year for that. And then, whoosh. Cash out. Cash out into the bodies or cash out into the wicks. Gee, Elmer, what's the trade now? I'd say if you're short, get the fuck out. Actually, now it's time to think about getting in if you're a tight stop guy. You could go short here on stops. Let the market prove you right. So, let the market prove you right. What if they fill me here and then they stop me out? Well, that's why you got to trade with more than one ticket. It's as simple as that, man. That's why the guy has a prop house. Yes, one goober's making money on fucking scalping it like a meth head, and the other guy's making money on like dumb fucking doji trades. And you do feel dumb. Because, you know, if you take out a Fibonacci tool, you can tell people, do you understand? And they're like, what? This is the golden ratio. Heavens to Murgatroyd. He's got the golden ratio. Did you see that? Oh, yeah, I heard he's a trader. I want my dojis to be blue. So another thing is anybody has access. If anybody can make an indicator and post it, what I would do is I would say, the smaller the doji, like the darker the color. So you have dark dojis, which are like your gravestones. And then you have a, shit, got the wrong color again. So this is your little bit bigger doji. And then you have your gay dojis here. Pink. Okay, wait. So and then you have your intense. Of course, this isn't going to show up unless I change the background. So here's your gravestones. And if you can't handle this range, right, and that's where you also have to get in at the market in a hedge. So imagine you're in a hedge here, I think. So here, if you went long and short at the same time, you made something out of scalp, but when they kicked it back in, you had to know this vacuum was forming. Right, you have to be aware of what's currently forming, and up to that point, we have a serious, if you want to call it a triangle, and I'm just taking the most the most snuggest view of the highs. Super snug. And here's the kickback stop hunt. So they kicked out the money management bots, but they made, if they bought on a stop here, they made X. Right? That system works. But that's not enough, because when it goes like this, you're like, holy shit. Now, would you sell there? Okay, this is the question. Now, I wouldn't, because maybe a little, but I wouldn't, because I think that this is the next vacuum to be I'm gonna go all the way down to here, this one, but if we climb back up, we don't really probe this top yet until later on. So we do hit that. But if you see, and that, this is your trap, and that's your stop hunt for that entry there. That's why you can't have a view of the market that looks like this. Even if you're bullish, you can't say, you need to have this too. You need this one, right? You need all this shit going on. Like it's never gonna be like your utopian projections. So I would give up on that. I did. I just you know, I could, in a geometric thing, I could build a channel and I could say that channel is gonna fail. Actually, there's also the concept of, and after I heard this, I thought, oh really? Well, you can have it any way you want. Then yes, the idea of a pattern failure. If you trade pattern failures, so everybody says, well, it's a double top, it's topping out. Yeah, what if it doesn't? Well, you could just be a goober and place a buy stop above there and just keep doing turtle trading. You can look up turtle trading with Richard Dennis, and you just go with the flow. Confirmation until you blow up the account, which I think the turtle traders finally blew it up because the market went sideways. Right, there's no way. So it's kind of like I said, it's like being with an autistic method or something that's intermittently using heroin and is in jail every random amount. I mean, it's just, the market is just more of a insane beast than really anything. Look at this sell-off in gold. How about that sell-off in gold? Jesus. Wow. Forgot about that. Yeah. Look at this doji down here. So people write books about this shit. I could write a book called Doji Trader. Trade like a whore. Yeah, just trade multiple tickets. Got sell stops here, buy stops here. How'd that trade work out for you? Buy stops, sell stops. How'd that trade? Yeah, you're cherry picking the chart. Well, of course. I only trade dojis. I just cherry pick the dojis. Sell stop, buy stop, sell stop. I got trapped there. Here I got blown out of something. If I didn't take something off the table, they came back and smashed you. Here, I'm a genius. Here, I'm a genius. And here. So, but what if we just doji out? Now we could doji for 3 more dojis, for 3 more months of doji. What is the scenarios here? I'm sure if you printed this out and you painted all the possible scenarios, you'd be like, well, fuck. Yeah, you probably go to the weekly chart then. You're like, holy shit. Look at this weekly chart. Jesus. Look at this. 5x. Dude, you could look at this. You could learn so much just looking at dojis. Just go look at a fucking doji, man. And it actually hammers a doji, by the way. I'm just saying. Small body. Okay. Big, small legs, hopefully, too. A spinner. So look at these dojis. It just, I don't know, it just seems like the easiest system in the world. I guess nobody wants to believe it's that easy. Well, you can't just be that easy. Well, no, you'd actually have to have more than one ticket. And you'd have to be prepared to only make this many pips. But you're aware of the weekly new highs, weekly new highs. Here you can see that you could have made in 2 weeks all the way back into this vacuum. So if you just put up the monthly and the weekly, you can see every fucking trade. Here, if I was a gold bug, I'd be like, oh, let me buy here. Let me buy here on limits, so I'm in. And let me buy here on limits, no fill. Because, and here this is the last chance to do the trend trade. Sell stop, buy stop, whoosh. Total washout. Psycho behavior here. Because that was the floor. You see the reaction here, the scalp. People come in at this price, just below it. I don't know if they even made a bounce there. They just sheared it off. But the guy that said, oh, I'm going to buy down here. Now, this is a completely different situation. This is the jigsaw indicator. Could see that. Our market profile could see this. This low. The reaction at that low. Huge wickage. No fill here yet. But then finally you fill. Finally you fill. And on the way there, here comes the goober trend traders. Buy stop, sell stop. They're like, hee hee. This may be too fat of a weekly doji for you, but look at the fucking, because you'd have to be running the money management limits too. So what I'm saying, from a one-trick pony situation, you'll never, at some point, unless you keep adjusting your stop to the markets, what market wants for a stop, not what you want percentage-wise for your account. So I think the biggest mistake is people are like, oh, I'm going to risk 2% of my account. Okay, now you've locked yourself into equity. You're trading your equity now instead of trading what the market's telling you. Yeah, you can't trade silver, dude, because you can't trade small enough to fucking make it worth your while to survive a fucking 5-hour or 50-day move. I mean, you'd have to figure that out, right? Here, once again, here's the bottoms become tops on wicks. There's just so much here. I mean, I just can't imagine. As soon as you zoom out more than this, it's pointless. Just go to larger time frame. And so I guess what people used to do, like the Forex Hangout guy puts a 5-minute chart up. I mean, Jesus, man, just put up a half hour and a 15 and a 5 and stare at that shit and go, okay, I guess I could have just put if this is a 1-hour chart, which is not. God, what a right place to put limit orders right here. Amazing. Look at that fill. Look at him come in on that. You didn't even have to be there for that. You're like, what? And this is a 1-hour chart. Same story. And look at, it didn't spend probably no time there. I can't zoom in, unfortunately. I don't know how to. There's a way to hit zoom in here, but you can only imagine, right? You know the story inside that weekly. Some guy asked me once, he goes, how do you know there's a triangle in that doji? I go, yeah, there's a triangle. Like, this is a triangle, and I'm sure on the 4-hour, there's a triangle here. There's a triangle here. Look at this fucking gray stuff. There's a triangle here on the 4, because, yeah, it's a flag. A flag, a triangle, they all mean consolidation. And look when they blow this top off of here. Think about the guy that sold up into that. And he's like, holy shit. And hang on, Joe. Wait till they come back and get these guys, we'll get out. And then some. So if you trade this from reversal modes, from high to low, range trade it on the weekly gold, you literally got to buy this and then sell that. And of course, this is when you realize, uh-oh, no sellers are coming in. And even the money management bots are still trailing. You have a triangle here. And then boom. And God knows what to look left here. I'm sure there's something. Yeah, certainly on the weekly. If you take out the scripts here, I'll just go pure chart mode. since I've zoomed in so hard. Okay, so we can see the whole landscape now. Because I don't want to zoom out, it just crushes the story. Because you do have open to close here, so. In the line chart view of this, you're more likely to draw stuff like this and see these relationships of, okay, here's like a channel on the clock, you know, here's a range, but this is all clock based. Look at this perfect failure swing top, perfect head and shoulders, head, shoulder, and you're thinking this is a shoulder. I wouldn't think of head and shoulders on Wix. I don't think it works. Like, can you see the head and shoulders? So I call this wax on, wax off. Can you see the head and shoulders here? On the, I guess so. But this is a high shoulder, see? This is a high shoulder. So if I go to the line chart, and I hate chasing, so it'd be hard to sell there, but if you turn on the candles, you can see with a sell stop here. Even the money management bots that are the people that were hoping gold was just going to go to the moon and take out this and this, because you can only imagine the dreams of these people that happen to participate in that. Not everybody's in these trades. Another thing, listen to Alexander Elder talk about the market. He makes it sound like everybody has the same thought. Well, I guess it is true for the people, but this is truly distribution up here. So I'm just going to go back to line chart. And just see the quadruple top here. This obviously distribution of some type. And here it looks like an obvious buy. Like you could have bought yesterday. Can't even draw over there. But yeah, this is, you can also have orders placed here. So here's your doji is always the, there's your triangle. So the triangle pops out real easy there. You could say, well, we got a trend line break, come back, find support, and that's why it's a good buy here. Well, that might be true. And if that's true, what it really is about is momentum. I just happened to recoil back into that. I don't think there's anything magical there. It is nice, and besides, don't forget it overshot, I'm sure, on Wix here. It could have wicked down into this, and this you just can't see it on the chart. So it looks very idyllic. Ideal. And of course, you could say, oh, yeah, it's self-fulfilling prophecy, people at trend lines there, but it doesn't play out here necessarily in the same. So what will happen is people want to make extrapolations like this. Go see that channel? Yes. Yes, I do. I see now in RSI is more oversold here than it is here. So this is a buy signal. RSI is more oversold here and more oversold here. It's in an uptrend. Right? Just turn it on. I use a 3-period RSI. So if you trade RSI, it's hard to get used to looking at the line charts because people have been trained on candles. Plus, you don't see the violence of the true range of each session. So it's like true naked trading. So if I put insert RSI, hopefully it's set to 3. I like relative vigor index. Really? What's next? Okay, this is the only indicator that really works because it's an index. I'm going to use a 3-period. And so it goes like this. If RSI is more oversold at a higher price, you buy, and you take this and you add it to this, and that's your projection. But see how it overshoots? More oversold and still a higher price. We project from this, we add it to that, and guess what? Doesn't happen, but it does go up. And you're indexing momentum here. You can get the same correlation to some degree as far as trendline break in RSI. So you have trendline break, come back, find support. You can make that argument, and you could do it in a momentum. It's a momentum index, but the market is its own index still. Breakout, find support. They're both, actually this is leading, so a leading indicator is RSI because it's sensitive to the last price. So is this an entry? Yes. And it's actually more oversold than this, so it's a triple bullish continuation. So that's called a positive reversal by Alexander Elder. Some people call it negative, like some type of divergence. But divergence really is the when you see the goes down for a new low. Like here's divergence, okay. But when you see this, it's a setup for a sell, because you also have, this is why people are disturbed by the market. Well, it said buy, but then it said, okay, this is a reversal. More overbought at a lower price. On the clock, on the weekly, on the close, you have to sell. So as soon as it starts to get up here, so right now you're having, well, no divergence here because this is such a meltdown, but see this sell? That's more overbought at a lower price. That's the secret of RSI. Here, it's not quite like that. That's kind of a buy, and then you get almost divergence here. Here you definitely get divergence. And if this just played out just right, this would be called hidden divergence, because this is happening below that. So it's a real, in other words, these last two moves here are so profound that RSI went to new highs, and you got a 2-period divergence. Another thing with RSI, these price pulses have to be from 2 to 5. So in essence, it's kind of like Elliott wave, because it's like these price pulses are short-lived. There is a 1-2 punch. There is a classic pullback, and this would be the people that buy a 3.8. If you're buying a 38% retrace, that's better than a 61.8, because that's a fucking market that's going to keep, that's a true trend trader's entry. The 618 to me, and that's maybe why this Forex Hangout guy is stretching his chart. In other words, he's condensing. So if you condense your 5-minute chart, now you're taking more data, you're going to hang your hat off something else. But if you're looking at true movement, there's always the first move, and then there's the big move. Now this could be a 5-second chart or a 5-month chart. And if it keeps moving, it may not even pull back 10% to the 10 fib. So the 38% people, but why not buy at the 38 and the 61? Why not buy everything between those? Whatever you can afford. So if, and then you'd say, wow, that works better like that. Well, no shit. Because if you bought here and you bought here and you bought here, and every time this closed down, you bought at the market at the end of the week, because you're like, holy shit, look at this fucking trade. Now this didn't quite work out here, but if this would have gotten more over, now on a 2-period RSI, I guarantee you, if you run a 2-period RSI, that's your sell. And it's confirmed on the clock. It's not confirmed by a breakout. You're trading at the market at the end of the week. And it's kind of nice, right? You know, bought here, bought there, fuck them. Now if I go to the monthly, there's going to be hardly any signals. But yeah, RSI 3-period. Like I said, 2-period is, if you could handle this, you'll probably end up at 2-period. Like, this is just how it progresses. Does anybody own one motorcycle? Maybe you do. Some people are addicts. Or maybe they own one that when they're fixing one, they only have one that rides. They got 10. Then maybe some people are collectors. They don't even ride them. So there's people that are collectors. There's people that are players. There's people that are... So everybody has a different... so unfortunately, all systems work. If you work them, it's like AA. And that's another thing to consider, right? That you're addicted to trading. I can't remember the name. I can't remember that song, but I heard it. I thought, oh my god. So what else? Let me go to the monthly chart. So on the monthly chart of gold, I did a video on this once. You can see the buys on the way up here. It just keeps giving you insane buys. More are sold at a higher price every time it dips below. You're also riding the trend line there, or any moving average. Of course, here looks a lot like Bitcoin, but yeah, I could see gold just coming into this stuff. If you ever take this out, you can only imagine the house cleaning. And there is this vacuum here that did fill earlier, so we've gotten that out of the way. But can you imagine gold coming into... It's going to take a while. Of course, once you get to 1,000, that's a lot to carve out there. So I would ignore this because that's already backfilled. All we know is this undercut. So, jigsaw. And there's the top. Of course, this was the hope for the bull pony trade. And then it was severely dashed, and it's been punishment ever since. Here's where you go unfair below the floor. Buyers come in, and everybody is hoping that's long is like, oh, dude, we're going to climb out of this thing, and I can see it now. Woof. Then more torture. Shit. I don't get this fucking... I can't draw past anything on this. I don't know why my drawing zone's so small. Chart shift's turned off. Might as well fix the scale while I'm at it. So you can see the RSI. So if you take your RSI and stretch it, you'll be able to see the signals here. So look at this severe divergence here. Brutal, huh? As it's trapped below the floor. Comes into this right price. Pretty good trade. So, yeah, I'm a buyer here, here. I don't think there anybody that isn't. The question is, do you have enough money to buy here, here? Open an account and just put a bunch of pendings down here because you know you're going to want gold if it ever goes down here. And just don't even put a time expiration. Just throw pendings in. I just don't get why people are using that fib stuff, because what if fib tells you come in here and it only makes it to here and then takes off? Because if fib was right, I guarantee some guy would be running a robot and that thing would be spitting up winning fibs all day long. Oh, look at this. Getting a meltdown here. Coming all the way back to the 6,000 level here on Bitcoin. Spooking the bulls. Look at this puppy. Oh, I left my fibs up here. Look at that. Speaking of fibs. I'll definitely come back to this high here. So here's the doji. Take this forward, and black candles are people too. Black candles matter. Okay, so yeah. Bye bye Bitcoin. So somebody asked me about the spectrum indicator. Well, the thing is that it's set for 30 minutes right now. But you can set it to whatever you want. You open up the code there. You'll see M30. And you can make this percentage of the pivot anything you want. I just like the update. Looks cool. Doesn't mean shit. I guess it's a guide. That's what people claim the 20 EMA is. I think I'd put a sell limit on each one of those. I think for people that don't know how to trade, if you handed this to somebody that doesn't know shit, every morning once you put sell limits, I'll give you the yellow. I'll give you a script called -5. Yellow -5, so you can't fuck it up. Orange -4. If you're math illiterate, it would just be yellow. We could take the numbers off. Look how that's nailed right in a 100 pip range. It's like magical. It's mystical. So, but it doesn't tell you how long this order should last. And we can make that 4 hours. I could actually have it H. In other words, I could call this H6, H8, and I could have it all spelled out. Somebody could, that's how you would do it. For somebody that you wanted to have just place orders for you that you would never place because you think they're ridiculous, you'd be ashamed to place them. If you have kids or something, or maybe if you can con your wife into it, so they can feel like they're participating in the game of trading. And you just have a H12, and you just pick the depth. They don't even know what the fuck they're doing. You just, I mean, this thing's gonna tell them. And so every time, every morning they come in and they place tickets that last 12 hours or last one day. I mean, you know you want to buy here all week long, right? If this is the 1 hour CAD yen, would you buy here? Would you buy here? Would you buy here? Would you buy here? Oh yeah. Well, definitely buy here because this is a round number. Anyways. It's a lot of fun. Oh, Litecoin, I forgot to look. Oh, Litecoin versus, look at this shootout. Oh, here's Litecoin. I think Litecoin can melt down too. I think the Litecoin's leading the meltdown. Let's take a look at the monthly candlesticks. Wow. Coming back into the Dojiville. Let's see if I can fix the scale. Yeah, fuck. That's fucked up. Wow, look at this thing. That's a wave 4. Where it's cooked. We're all the way back to the starting gate. Wow, what a ride, huh? 4x from $60 to $360, $300. Is that what that costs? $50 seems fair. I think it'd come all the way back to like $3. I'd like to get in, ride it up to 30. Anybody waiting for that trade? I'll come down here. Let's see. Come here, you. I can delete all objects here. Look at that. Litecoin. Boy, it is light. So yeah, is this feasible? Come all the way back to this. $30. Wow. This is a phenomenon. I just utterly fascinated. I would have never. I have friends that have killed themselves. I know 5 people that have committed suicide. And if I could only say to them, dude, you gotta stick around for fucking Litecoin and Bitcoin. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah, I was gonna kill myself, but then you called and said, there's this cryptocurrency. Yeah, what's gonna happen, man? Is anybody taking bets on this? Other than just using it for transactions. Whew. Man, what a beast. Look at this. My trend line here goes way out. And give that plenty of room to consolidate. Look at this move. Man. Here's where you wrote it back from 30. Get your nuts crushed here. 36. Interesting. 36 to 36. 10 times from here. And about 10 times from here. That's just incredible. That is amazing. See, like, MetaTrader lets you zoom out this much. So it just turns into a bar chart. Okay, so could you trade this chart? I could not. Can't see the forest for the trees. Here's the weekly. Okay, maybe. I could trade that. I can see I used to trade like that on my phone, HTC phone. So with this, I could see the gaps between the candles. I get my brain around that. Still can't fix the scale here. MetaTrader won't let me. And here we just got our first candle shows up. Wow. What an incredible look at the doji factor here though. Wow, man, look at that. After this move, seriously, how does this story end? I can't even condense this fucking thing. I have to go to the whale club to look at this shit. That's unfortunate. This is a real problem. We're coming back to this top though. We bounced off it. This is consolidating, but this looks like it's going to drip down lower with gold. And oil looks fucked. I think they satisfied the urge up here. Get to 65. Yeah, the party's over here, so the guys that sold here are underwater currently. The guys that sold up here, what are they doing? They waited for this. They're just up on that trade. They scalped a little bit. And their dream is the bear's dream. Start taking out these higher lows. Here's the only kickback. Stop hunt entry. Another one that's getting distribution beat up here. So yeah, once we take off that, and then we can cut into this. That takes us all the way back to an inconceivable $2.50 a gallon. I don't know, is gas that cheap here? But this is low, man. Wow. Oof. Double top in time. This should be support. We could definitely. The next target for the bulls is to go after those stops there on these rooftops. Here's the confirmation traders got in there. Oh, here's the doji. So small moves of doji. Monthly chart. Yeah, I think people zoom out too much, man. These markets are ridiculous. Look at the weekly. Christ. Crazy shit here. I think the liquidity is all the same. Every market has the same issues. Come back to this top. Sell stop stacking up. Whoosh. I gotta zoom in another level. So there's the weekly crude. So this Michael Norman says, oh, systems don't work. Look at this triangle here. Man. I'm just selling new lows. I mean, on a breakout. So small bars means it's safe to put a retail order in there, retail trade or goober trade. Buy stop, sell stop. Buy stop, sell stop on the doji. You know it's a doji because the market's not going anywhere, so it's doji, doji, doji. First buy stop's triggered, textbook, you're off to the races. Do you add here? Do you add here? Do you add here? Do you add here and get slammed? Right? Top becomes a bottom in time on the weekly crude. You've cleared the trees. You're still hunting down this huge vacuum that goes way back. But now distribution or reaccumulation in the bullish argument. But yeah, once we start cutting this, if you take this out, right, I'm talking a dream trade, but it's going to be it's going to be like this on the way there. We all know that if we do buy limits here, we have to scalp something. If we buy limits here, we have to get out here. Right? The logical exit. So if we buy this, we've got to get out here. If we buy this, we got to get out here. If we buy this, we got to get out here. For the bounce, for the high probability small target. That's if we're going to buy dead cat bounces along the way here, and more buy limits with more cash outs. Buy limits with cash outs, and do you sell into this? Do you start selling now? And do you go to the daily chart and trade inside your... So one thing is true, is that the vacuums will fill in quite a dramatic way. Say the daily, I wouldn't quite call that a new low. So it's pretty much, here's when the money management things get crushed out, because as soon as you cut in new territory, here comes the eager bear beavers selling, and the distribution phase is right up there above the unfair value, trapped in a higher auction. Then you bounce off it. Here comes the guys that like deep discounts of these 3-day vacuums, 5-day vacuums. So every time somebody asks me a question about these things, there's 10 answers. In other words, it's not that there's 10 vacuums here. How deep are your pockets? So say you were bullish crude, or say you just want to range trade this thing. As soon as this comes down here, you could say, okay, well, that's the top. It's coming out. Is it going to go higher? Okay, I want to sell high. And I want to buy low. But do you wait for it to come back and make a 8-day low? The further back the low, the better the price, right? Because those become, at least this is a dead cat bounce, and this is quite a big winner up back into this, into that. So the hedge funds would roll their books over there, or most people would, or just the market dies out. There's more than one person trading. And here's your daily chart. You can see the huge unfair value, anything above here, and here's the ultimate sell. And that actually was after the double top. There was actually another for the pure auction people. So the clock people are making money too, but they had to put their stop up here and maybe got stopped out, or they just stop here. And you know, latecomers could have said, well, I think it's still gonna go higher into this, so I can get in here on this pullback, and they're anticipating that. And you also have a doji, inverted hammer doji on. You could get filled there for not much money and profits. But all markets are the same. What else? I just have a hodgepodge of bullshit in this fucking thing. I don't know what the hell's in here. Here's the cat. So I was making the argument for breakout of highs. It all works if you're, you know, the market's randomly moving, so anybody can be right. Let me start over from scratch here. Okay, that's the monthly dollar CAD. Oh, I don't think I have my candles on here. Yeah, these are non-directional candles. They're just big non-directional. There's the weekly. I find this currency to be very limit orientated and very bad at continuation breakouts. It does happen, but it's just such a rangy market. It seems to me. And I looked up the statistics on it, but a lot of this shit, choppy, chop, chop. And it's great if you're going to go wick to wick trading. But look at this clusterfuck. This never, it gets narrow and then it just goes and just does nothing. Here's the only good run here. The only classic trendline break. Doji's after a doji and clean here, and then this would blow you up. All this, maybe you could make some money here selling into that, but wow, you're already only slightly above water on that trade. Here's your winner. Buy limits here. Buy limits here, but then you got a dump here. It's good at range trading. It's a good range traders. Comes back and retags. Just doesn't seem to have the smoothest. Of course, maybe that's just the way it is right now. And of course, it changes. It changes character. So people say each currency has its own character. Well, each currency turns into a different character. If you look at the total history of a currency, if you were trying to trade the Canadian dollar here, looking for a direction, you're like, holy shit! And here, I mean, you're slugging along. But when you saw this, you're like, well, Katie barred the door, and of course this was immense, and this is cutting into fresh territory there, so is that, and this, you know, so you're talking, that's a hell of a move. And then climax, inverted hammer, give it all back, buyers come in like crazy there, and they really come in hard there. There'll be drama up here if we ever make it up there, I'm sure. But hey, it just depends what time frame you're on, right? Okay, let's see. Oh, look at how it's just nailing this top here. This updates every half hour, by the way. Look how it calls this perfectly. God, where'd you get that indicator? Look at that. Right where it turned around. Huh. Look at this. It's amazing. That shows you how your brain, that's living proof how your brain wants to make sense of the world. Of course. My psychotic girl in the coffee shop, I'm like, I don't care what a train wreck she is. I'm like, you know what? Well, that's the hand you're dealt. That's how it is, man. She's nuts. Look at this thing tagged around and go smashing back out. Of course, you can make the Sega argument for this price, and this is really just coming into that psycho trap, the trap traders trade. I would have had my buy limits in here on this big giant thing. If you held through it to this one, and here you bought this one, and you're going to sell anything above that. Okay. I don't have the indicator on this one. So this one looks like we have a huge vacuum above us now. We got this area. We got this beneath. So once it filled this, got to come all the way back into this. So really 80% of the time, I would say, your limits are going to pay good swing money. And your stop entries, you can also get stopped out of a limit if you put it in too tight. But if you put a cluster, so if you have a limit bank under here, and every 10 pips you're taking some off the table on a dead cat bounce in here, you could have made something here, and then you're still buying more, and then it comes here and you're going to wish you would have bought more here. But what you can do is buy more, and this is a daily chart, is when this comes back here, or you're just constantly running a trailing buy stop on the 4 hour. So if you zoom this out, why isn't it redrawn that shit? Okay, here we go. This 10 pip grid. I'm sorry, this is 25 pip grid. So this is the big boys trade, 25 pips. So if you go to the 4 hour chart, you could get filled on stops. I don't think I want to get stop entry, but here buy stops would fill, and here they trap you a little bit. That's why you need more than one ticket. And you'd probably have to get out of something here and something here and something definitely up into this floor. So I would put buy limits here, buy limits. So on the 4 hour stop hunt, I got my buy limits here. And depending on how it behaves on the way down there, of course, now we could be on the 1 hour and we'd make our money scalping, which is the preferred method if you aren't afraid to trade large or trade with multiple tickets, or get in and get out quickly. Hump and dump. So you're not going to marry the trade, even though you'll want to, because you'll be like, oh man, it's going my way, like let me add on to that. But as the clock ticks, the clock's not your friend. So right now it's, oh, that's going to take forever to come up. Wait, I keep forgetting this. I can't be in drawing mode and actually click on the screen at the same time. The bottom of the hour is going to be serious drama, so we kind of know that's going to happen, as it inevitably does. Okay, so if I get another thought, I'll come back.